Hi, welcome all. Thanks for coming. I feel like I should apologize in advance because it feels like anything I'm going to come up with to say will be woefully insufficient use of your time. Hey, Witcher. Hope you're having a good night. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I have nothing planned to read. I have nothing planned to say. Um, and most of what is in my head, I don't want to spread out into the world. Hi, Nolan. Nice to see you here tonight. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good Christmas. And yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone. Anytime I thought about preparing something for tonight, I just got overwhelmed and it just got me more stressed out. The past couple hours have not been easy for me. And like the last couple full moons, I'm just here again trying to fulfill the commitment to show up every full moon. While not feeling like the right person to be doing this at all. I wish I had something helpful to say. Witcher says, went fishing today with my three mess monkeys. Thanks for being you, Mr. Black. Ah, fuck. You're welcome, I guess. Ice fishing or no? Is it warm enough you were just fishing? Or were you ice fishing? I haven't been fishing in quite a while, but I do enjoy it. I've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours over my life fishing. Does that make me think of anything worth telling? The second time I thought I might die was on a fishing trip. So it was after getting hit by the bus, which I don't know. The three people who I know are here. I know you guys all know that story, so I won't go into that at all. But anyway, second time I thought seriously that I might die, I was at a friend's cabin. He's got this little log cabin in a lake north of here. And we'd been out fishing all day and it stayed out past dark. We were coming back in at dark. And I forget exactly. Anyway, the boat fucking tipped. And I was wearing like an army surplus jacket, like one of those really long green coats, jeans, and had steel toe boots on. And the water was really, really fucking cold. But I could not swim in what I was wearing. It was like I was only a couple feet from the boat. Um, and I was just, I could get up and kind of gulp a bit of air and then I'd start going under. And it took everything I had. It was so hard to swim with all those clothes on. I managed to, so I kept going like kind of up and down, and I couldn't get even just to the boat, which was a couple feet away. Then I started to think like, fuck, am I just going to drown here? And we weren't even that far from shore when we took the bus. I thought, am I going to drown here like 2 feet from a boat and fucking 50 feet from the shore? And I found that after the near death experience with the bus, I was not afraid of dying. I felt like I had to attempt to survive it because I'd been suicidal already a lot by that point. And so just letting go and saying, "Oh, I went under if I really could manage to survive," like it flashed through my mind that, yeah, what was required of me was to attempt to get over to the boat. Another part of my mind was thinking, like, actually, fucking drowning in a lake, kind of a poetic way to go. It felt in touch with nature. By the way, I was struggling to get over, and I was just getting more and more tired every time it was up and down. And finally, I realized there's no way I could swim with my steel toe boots on. So I got one more gulp of air, and then instead of trying to get back to the surface at all, I let myself sink, and I just untied, like I just crouched down, untied my boots, pulled them off, and then I was able to kick up to the surface and just get over to the fucking boat. Yeah, see, I don't know if that was worth telling or not, but I had nothing else to say. One moment. I am very congested and stuffed up at the moment, and I feel like I have a mild fever, but I don't think I'm sick. I think it's the stress about doing this tonight. One thing I've found in my depression, if my depression gets bad enough, or a combination of depression and stress, it will feel like having a cold. There's various symptoms. Sometimes I get like headaches and a fever. Sometimes I get stuffed up. Sometimes I get the sort of body aches that come with being sick. So yeah, I overstressed myself enough about this, as much as I tried not to, that I expect this isn't a cold or anything. I just overstressed myself. Nolan says, "Thank you for being here, Nolan and Witcher, and giving me something to say." Nolan says, "We're through the darkest time of the year. Yeah, the lack of light bothered me last year, but this year it seems a lot better. Yeah, the days are getting longer again. I have no idea how much the actual sunlight affects me. I've tried those fucking specialty sunlight lamps that are supposed to mimic all that shit, and they never helped my depression at all. And with bipolar, it's a cycle. Um, yeah, my early cycles were 3 years, so it'd be like 2 years of depression, 1 year of mania. So I can go right through a summer suicidally depressed. So I don't know how much it's the lack of sunlight, but I do know for a lot of people who just have, yeah, people who aren't bipolar, but just have seasonal affective disorder or whatever the fuck they call it. Witcher is in Chucktown, South Carolina. No ice, just water. So did you catch anything? What were you fishing for? Me and my friend, when we tipped the boat, we were fishing for pike. Hey, Patty, good to see you here. How are you doing tonight? Witcher says, "Love your beard is coming in like a lion, mate." Thanks, I guess. I don't know. I always find it weird when people compliment me on my beard. I take no pride in it. It's just, it just fucking grows when I get too depressed to bother to shave. Yeah, it's not like, well, and for me, it's just a fucking winter coat. Combination of depression. And yeah, in the middle of the winter in Canada, in January and February, there's not that much motivation to shave because it is a lot fucking warmer. Dust says I've been through the ringer too. Yeah, I'm sorry that you've had such a hard time the past couple months as well, man. Well, a lot of people did this year. But we made it to the end. It's at well, being after midnight, it's technically the 30th now. So we're not far from the end of 2020. Hopefully next year's better for everyone. Programs 10 says, Hey Merc, I've been experimenting a bit with using anger to bypass some apathy and generate more energy when I need it. When I'm doing solo work, it helps a lot without much immediate downside. But I've also found it can make me a little more irritable around others as well, which hasn't been ideal. Should I just abandon this technique or just practice having greater control and foresight? Sleep has been an issue too, which has contributed to the irritability as well. So if you have a recommendation of how to reset a circadian rhythm in the middle of winter, that would be helpful. All right, I am so fucking stupid right now. I mean that literally. Depression, my mindfulness of my depressed states. I am just always fucking stupider when I'm depressed. It's like I don't process information as fast. I can't take as much in. My memory's worse. Like depressed me cannot understand half of the shit that manic me can understand. So I'm going to do my best with some advice on this. But yeah, I'm glad I apologized at the beginning because I feel whatever response I come up with is going to be woefully inadequate. All right, let's try. Oh, and I'll start with one thing because I recently had something self help that was generating anger in me. And so I stopped doing it. I had been pushing myself for a while to do the Wim Hof breathing technique daily. For a while, it was helping with my depression a bit. But then I found on a couple days when I was dealing with more stress, how do I put this? And dealing with somebody doing something to me. Like an outside circumstance. I don't want to talk about other people. I don't want to complain and give away details. But there was somebody that it would be reasonable for me to be mad at. Let's just say that. I've had an issue like that recently. I found a couple times that I did the Wim Hof breathing technique. After doing it, I was suddenly just furious at that person, but also angry in general. It's like about all of my sufferings. These past couple months have been hell for me. And I try to get myself into a mindset of enduring it nobly, learning to travel through hell without losing faith in God, trying to be forgiving, understanding of others, and to just take on, just to carry my cross without being hateful or without blaming others, without letting it corrupt me, like working on myself rather than blaming things on other people. I found when I did the Wim Hof technique a couple times, it just took me from completely depressed to really, really fucking angry, which for me, when that anger kicks up, it pushes me towards blaming others. It brings up all the fucking fuck these people, fuck life, fuck God. Like, it just brings up the dark side. It's like having Satan come up, telling you, like, oh, yes, you're perfect. Stop apologizing and trying harder. Go fucking blame this person and that person. And years ago, before I learned to start managing being as fucking insane as I am, as well as I do now. It's like the old me for the past couple months, I wouldn't have been suffering quietly and just trying to be there for a few people and manage what I can. I would have been screaming at the world to fix things for me. And literally calling people, trying to get other people to step in and fix this, or just, I look back at myself. You find other ways to blame things on people. So it can become, this is so hard right now. And you know what? If so and so hadn't done this, and just the dark side of me will work so hard to try to get me blaming everyone else. And I'm not saying what's right or wrong for other people, but I really try to follow that example of loving your enemy, judge not lest ye be judged, and all that shit, and just try to work on myself. So for me personally, anger is dangerous because I have a whole fucking Arkham Asylum of fucking bad shit inside of me. Anger makes me feel like giving into anger makes me feel self-righteous, makes me less empathetic, makes me less caring, less forgiving. It removes any motivation. Hey, I'll just try to be there for, someone else today. It becomes, what the fuck can someone else do for me today? So those are the reasons I don't like anger. Now, let me read your questions again, because like I said, I've got stupid fucking depressed brain, and I don't know how well I'm doing in a response here. All right, so because you're experimenting a bit with using anger to bypass apathy. So I probably talked way too long about that, but I remember now the point was for me personally. So I'm not telling you what to do, programs. For me personally, I don't harness anger because I don't trust myself with the emperor. It doesn't seem like the right tool for me personally. However, some people can use it. Well, yeah, some people don't have all that dark shit come up. Some people can do it in a healthy way, perhaps. I can't use anger in a healthy way. So I try to, do the Sam Harris shit or the forgiveness shit or do some physical exercise. When I'm feeling anger, I'm mindful of it and I try to calm down. I don't think to myself, okay, I'm fucking angry. I'm going to use this to do something. And it sounds like for you, you don't get all that because, now I'm looking again at the second part. So you do notice it makes you a bit more irritable, which isn't ideal. So I really like it that you're at least fucking noticing that, though, and trying to figure it out. So I can't answer for you what's right or wrong. What I would say is look at the benefit you're deriving from the anger and look at the downside, honestly. And again, I don't know exactly how your mind works. You might even want to make a pros and cons list. Pros of anger. I can use it to motivate. I don't know. Maybe you have others. The cons of the anger. And then just decide which one do you want to try to sort of fix. So it's either find a way to deal with the irritability and whatnot, find a way to deal with the cons or compensate for them while still gaining the benefit from the positive side. Or if it seems like the irritability outweighs the increased get up and go, then perhaps what you want to do is try to find another way to generate that get up and go. And it could also be situationally, like context driven. This may not be an answer for you of one or the other. It depends what's going on in life. Like, for instance, if you were to wake up and the house is on fire and you've got to get out of the house and you've got to drag whoever else lives with, drag your parents out, you have to be, and if somehow tapping into some anger of fuck you, whoever set this fire, I'm going to get everyone out of this fucking building. And if while you're saving people, you're irritable, people, like, then I would probably accept the irritability. But it's like, if all it's motivating you to do is something that's not even that useful in your life anyway, and you're being very irritable, it may be a matter of just choosing when to do it and to make sure it's worth it. Resetting a circadian rhythm is also something I am not good at. If I could control my sleep schedule, I would be diurnal like everyone else. But I'm sort of nocturnal. And that's not by choice, it's because that's how my own personal clock runs. I live my life always trying to get as much sleep as I can. Because I'm so crazy, like, I got to be really careful with my sleep. And so I just follow my natural body clock. For me, if I have a lot more trouble sleeping if it's a time period where I'm holding on to a lot of anger, or stress makes it hard to sleep as well too. Well, really, for me, often if I'm really having trouble sleeping and there's something going on in life that I'm having trouble dealing with, because once I'm really having trouble sleeping, that's a warning sign that I'm going to get way the fuck worse. And I'm very careful not to go past the line of crazy that I can handle. So I take my sleep very seriously. I guess having some sort of routine, like whatever time it is you want to go to bed, any kind of routine can help. First of all, choosing an hour to attend. Okay, so here's some general sleep things: dimmer lights. Um, don't play video games. Don't do social media for like 2 hours before sleep. If you're having trouble sleeping, for 2 hours before you know you want to be going to bed, have dim lights. An ideal thing is reading. Don't look into things that are upsetting. Like, for me, I remove myself to a fantasy world whenever possible at the end of the day. I try to, for a couple hours before bed, or at least an hour before going to bed, I try to move my mind into the realm of fantasy. If I'm being productive right up to bed, like back in the summertime when that idiot version of me was working just ridiculous hours on the channel, the nights where I worked right up to going to sleep, I would sleep horribly. If I'm worrying about solving a problem, figuring out what to do tomorrow, for the last hour before bed, I don't sleep as well. I sleep best if, and reading's fantastic. You can, but specifically fiction for me. But either reading fiction or watching fiction for at least an hour, preferably two, before going to bed, shifts my mind away from the cares of the world. And I think the part of my mind that's imaginative, that invests in fiction, that part of you that goes into fiction, is a similar part or the same part of the mind that dreams. So I find thinking of fictional things adapts me well to dreaming. Solving problems, social media, all that kind of stuff pulls me into waking up repeatedly during the night, worried about whatever it is I have to do the next day. Oh, another thing, it's better to watch, for me at least, but also I've heard this somewhere else. I forget who, but anyway, watching something live action is better than watching a cartoon. It's bad the same way that it's bad to play video games before bed, because of the way it fires your brain up. It's also bad to watch cartoons. The colors are too bright. It's better to watch something live action. And this isn't, I didn't hear this confirmed anywhere else, but I've noticed this just in myself. And if you really want to go overboard and maximize it, watching something black and white, I find even more conductive to getting sleepy than watching something in color. So to me, the ideal show for if you're really having trouble sleeping and you're like, you don't have the mental energy to read, I'd say first, read fiction. Second, watch old Twilight Zones. They have a nice slow pace too. A lot of them, they don't hype you up. I don't know how useful any of that was. I think I rambled for quite a while on that. So I'm just going to move on. I hope I said something helpful there. But I started with a warning. I'm full of fucking stupid, depressed brain. Okay, Nolan tried one of those lamps last year. It didn't seem to help me much. I got some brighter light bulbs and started opening the curtains, covering my window this year. That seems to help more. Okay, so we have a second account of somebody saying that those special lamps don't work. Has anyone else here ever tried that and found it does work? And yeah, I get very little actual sunlight during the winter because I sleep later during the winter, which falls back to my natural body rhythm. I noticed my sleep cycle isn't steady. It shifts with the sun shifting because it's like I'm wired backwards. The idea of being programmed to wake up at sunrise like a rooster, I'm the opposite. I get tired shortly before sunrise. And there's quite a difference in the time of day. The sun rises in Quebec. So in the winter, I go to bed later and get up much later. And the plebistocrat is here. Happy Moon Day. Last moon of the fucking year. Hey, and on that note, I made it through this year. Last year I missed one. And last year I didn't start at the beginning of the year. We're about 2 months from it being 2 years of me doing this. So the first year I did not do 13 full moon streams. The first couple months I wasn't doing the channel yet and I missed one last year. But I actually made it through this year to all 13 moons. This is the last one, and so this is the first time I've done that. I've made it through a whole year of full moon live streams. All right, how the fuck far behind am I? Interbeing Alchemist says, not sure if you're like me. I also am not sure if I am like you. And therefore, I'm not sure if you are like me. I'm sure we have a lot in common. We often focus on our differences. It was like Peterson said about, I think, men and women. Like, yes, there's differences between men and women, but we have way the fuck more in common. And he made the point that, like, that's really true of everyone. No matter how different you think another human being is, they are still more like you than unlike you. Like, something really unlike us is like not even just another animal. Fucking the number 7, that is very unlike us. We have much more in common with each other than either of us have in common with the number 7, no matter how different we are. Okay, Witcher says, if you want to try, so we're back to my beard again. If you want to try keeping it for a spell, I make my own beard balm and mustache wax with only 3 ingredients. Blessed olive oil, cool essential oil of frankincense, and beeswax. From spent prayer candles. I literally have prayers and blessings in my face. It helps me keep on keeping on, 1 moment, 1 hour, 1 day at a time. Okay, fuck. If my beard meant anything to me like that, that is absolutely what I would use. But for me, my beard is like, it's just my winter coat. As soon as spring comes, I'm going to shave it. But that is really fucking cool that that's what. Well, so you could send me some. I mean, yeah, we could talk about that. I would. Like, that's cool. Like, to. Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. But no, I don't intend to keep my beard. It's too fucking hot during the summer. Once summer hits, or sometimes I'll do it as a ritual on like the spring equinox of, yeah, every time I shave for the first time, or actually, fuck no, really every time I shave, because I shave on a regular basis in the summer. It's not about fashion, though. It's just, it's more comfortable. Like, I like the feeling of the fucking sun in my head in the summer. Like, I don't have air conditioning or anything. I don't handle heat well. So I love being shaved in the summer. It just feels better. And then the beard and hair feel better in the winter. So I guess in that sense, I'm kind of like a sheep. But when I shave, I always, for me, the magical isn't about just having a little magical temple set aside and stepping out of the real world into the magical. It's like every time I shave, I make it a magical ritual to let go, cleansing, let go of what no longer serves you, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's see. I don't know how fucking far behind I am. Well, I'm not that far behind. All right, let's see what the interbeing alchemist has continued to say. Not sure if you're like me, Mark, but I tend to have a tendency to let a lot of stuff slide. So when I energize myself, Wim Hof, I tend to want to swat all those problems in one swoop. So I empathize. You're a great guy. Keep sharing your journey, brother. Buck, thank you for that. I don't feel like a great guy or that sharing my journey has much value. But yes, it's like, not only, okay, first of all, obviously, and a lot of you here actually know me quite well. I'm obviously strongly empathetic, like overly so. I'm obviously high in agreeableness. Even my chosen philosophy is the fucking, like, I'm so non-pacifist. I'm on the martyr fucking end where I would rather be killed than kill someone else. Like, even if it was justified as self-defense, I work really hard on understanding that when other people do things to me, it's the ways in which we are unenlightened and disconnected from God are the things that cause us to hurt others. That understanding that, like, the same way that Peterson says the right way to read history isn't to always imagine yourself as the hero or the victim. You could be the aggressor, you could be the perpetrator, you could be the villain. I apply that to modern news and I apply it to others as well. So it's like, I don't always imagine that, it's that, if I was them, I would fucking know better and I wouldn't treat me this way. It's like, no, not if I was them. If I was them, I would be just as fucking confused as they are in the exact way they are. So I try to be very, very forgiving. It's my spiritual practice. It's practicing the agape, practicing the love, trying to love sinners. And when I do that right, I don't feel like that's sliding off. It's not, and I'm learning to compensate and set boundaries and, be an advocate for myself. I know those things are outside my wheelhouse, and I know that to function properly, those go along well with the spirit. Like the spiritual discipline I have would be improved if I was better at setting boundaries, if I could advocate better for myself, and I'm working on that. I don't think in that realm I do really that bad. Or I'm improving on that. The other thing is, aside from that, like there's one thing where it's not that I'm letting it slide. The other problem for me is that I'm fucking crazy. Life is going to be like this winter's harder because of things that happened this year. There's no doubt on that. There's always my experience is a result of two things: my inner nature and outer circumstance. And while ideally I would be so enlightened that no outer circumstance could damage my inner peace, I am not at that point. And the shit that has happened this year has weighed me down. But on top of that, my own internal nature, the bipolar depression, and a lot of my fucking suffering in life is my own insufficiency. Like, I can't take care of myself. I'm a burden on the state. Yeah, I haven't fucking cleaned up my room. I haven't fucking sorted myself out enough. And so, yeah. And so sometimes, or with the Wim Hof, when I energize, all those things about life that are hard to accept and that I'm working on overcoming and enduring nobly. Yeah, it recently the Wim Hof would bring up all this anger. Like, fuck these people you're being forgiving with, and also fuck this and fuck that. And with all that, it's just I just practice mindfulness, try to hold on to my conviction throughout it. I mythologize it as trials from God. I don't know. I'm not claiming that's real, but sort of by mythologizing it as God asking me to carry this burden and to learn to endure it nobly, to learn how to be forgiving to learn how to be forgiving and loving when someone has harmed you and you feel like you are in hell, is the spiritual discipline I have been working on. Pat says, use whatever causes less suffering. I mean, no doctor. Oh, I'm no doctor. Fucking ad popping up over your messages. Oh, fuck. Actually, at that, I'm going to take a piss break for a moment. So yeah, I don't know. Talk to each other in the chat. Take a moment of now. I don't know. Leave if this is not where you want to be. But anyway, I'll be back in a moment. I hope you enjoy your quiet time. All right. I want to say again, thank you very much to everyone in chat in particular for being here tonight, because we made it up to 40 minutes. I was so stressed out about fucking starting tonight at all, had nothing to say. And if you all hadn't been so fucking active in the chat, I would have been sitting here fucking quietly suffering a lot of this time. So, like, really, really deep gratitude and appreciation to you all for contributing, for helping me fucking. Again, don't know how helpful any of it is being, but at least you got me rambling about something. It wasn't just 41 minutes of dead air. So thank you for being here. I really, really appreciate that. All right, now let's see if I can get a bit more caught up. Dust to Dust says, anger is hard to put in proportions for me. If you can set limits to your anger, then a little frustration throughout the day, I don't think hurts, but do not dwell on shit. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to give away shit I know about you personally, but I get what you're saying on a deeper level there too, like why anger can be hard. Yeah, so I don't know, it's kind of like a lot of things. It's can you handle it? You know, some alcoholics can't have a drink now and then to relax. Some of us have more trouble operating out of anger and remaining good people than others do. Witcher says, I like both versions of you, Mr. Black, the idiot and this guy. You had said the idiot yeah, I knew you mean during the summer. Yeah, the depressed version of me. Even though the summertime version of me, I'm aware, smart. Like, processes information faster, can handle multiple trains of thought at once at times, understands weird fucking mystical shit. Like, I'm aware it's smarter than me in that way, that other version of me. But I also see him as a fucking idiot because of all the hope and running around wearing himself out, doing all kinds of shit that was no help to me this fucking winter. Like, as much as he's smarter and whatever, he can't stay fucking focused on anything. Like, he can't get the house cleaned up. And yeah, there's so much shit I could have done, or he could have done over the summer to have given us a better winter. Instead, he ran around like an idiot having all these fucking 7-hour conversations. I recognize he's smarter than me, but I also think of him as a fucking idiot. Why am I venting all this negativity? Okay, so Witcher's talking to someone else there. Carpe Diem says, any thoughts about 2021? No. I have no idea what to expect. And like, upper management doesn't, I mean, occasionally upper management, you know, one of my guides, my angel or something, they give me something that's coming in the future. That's rare. I don't often get kind of predictions about what's coming. It's more like there's something I'm worried. Is this or this going to happen? The most likely response I get from upper management is what I should do morally if either case arises. And not this is what's going to happen. So while I do sometimes get dreams of things that then happen, sometimes I get kind of psychic phenomenon where I'm like, oh, fuck, this is going to happen. And those do come true. Those are very rare. It's my kind of mysticism is much, much more about things on a different plane. So the mystical side of me has no predictions for 2021. And then the grounded fucking monkey meat, like like logical thoughts about what to expect from 2021. I have no idea. One of the things that disappointed me most about 2020, I mean, aside from personal shit I don't want to talk about, like aside from things that affected me, yeah, aside from that, when I look at the world situation and how 2020 unfolded, what I was most disappointed in is just seeing how badly the information commons has degraded. How badly we don't trust each other anymore, how badly some people are willing to lie and generate opposing positions. And so more and more, especially because, I don't know whether you know or not, Carpe Diem, but like I'm a hermit. I don't go anywhere. And more over the years, but especially this year, the world people are describing to me is getting more and more like varied accounts of it. I'm really disappointed at our lack of ability to agree on things, to give honest, unbiased fucking opinions and not to be, whether it's for advertising or, yeah, just the public information commons has degraded so badly that I don't even know what the fuck happened in 2020. So how would I know what's going to happen in 2021? All right, Prague says, your response to my questions were helpful, Merc. Thanks for responding. I've been doing Wim Hof recently too, so it seems like some anger may be a common experience with it, probably the adrenaline. It's good to see you during the winter depression, and congrats on the full year of your live streams. Thanks, man. So did you start doing Wim Hof recently because Michaela and Jordan talked to him? I found that weird. I hadn't been doing Wim Hof breathing when they did that podcast, but what I had been doing is the Wim Hof exercising in the cold for a few days right before that podcast. It's like, everything's been so brutal. I was really depressed. I was like, fuck, as much as I want to like just give up, I've got to live through this. And so I think about a week before they did the podcast with Wim Hof, one day I thought, all right, I'm going to go outside. Like, I don't like leaving my property. Like, when I'm out in the country, it's a decent length driveway. I thought, I'll just go out, walk the driveway a couple times to get a bit of exercise. And when I went out, it was like snowing. I thought, okay, fuck, I'll do the Wim Hof cold treatment thing. So just in my pajama pants and boots, like I didn't have a shirt on. I walked the driveway 10 times. So I don't know, about 50 minutes out in the cold. And then I kept that up for a couple more days. So I'd go outside, exercise a bit, and do that sort of cold therapy. But I hadn't been doing the Wim Hof breathing before they did that podcast. And then it seemed a weird coincidence they did that podcast. So I decided to take up the breathing as well. And the cold treatment shit does not cause any anger for me. Has anyone else ever had this like response to Wim Hof breathing? Dust to Dust says, I'm going through all the same things in terms of advocating for myself. Yeah, it can be hard for people like you and me. But I'm at least aware it's one problem I have, and I'm trying to learn to do it better. Although I just so dislike the idea of going too far and being sinful. Like the thought of, if I'm going to make a mistake of either being too hard on someone else or not advocating enough for myself, I would rather make the error on not advocating hard enough. Patty says those things. I have no idea how far behind I am. So let's see those things. Okay, not wanting bad for others and being the good ripple. I'm pretty good at. It's loving myself that prevents me from being authentic with it. Wait, okay. So the not wanting bad for others and being the good ripple you're good at. It's loving myself that prevents me from being authentic with it? I'm not quite sure I understand that. But I'm not. Okay, forgiving yourself is a part of being forgiving. Dust to Dust says, yes, very, very true. And I often have more trouble with that than with others. So I'm working on that as well. You know, it's funny because it's such an unspiritual person to bring up at that point. But one thing that sometimes helps me when I'm just suicidally depressed, it's so hard to forgive yourself for shit when you're suicidal. Just the programs, your brain fucking starts spinning. Sometimes then it helps me to think of Sam Harris's perspective, where there's no free will and where it's like we're all just a result of the combination of our nature and the outside circumstance. And the example he uses of that guy who killed his family and was put to death. He did all this horrible shit. And before they executed him, he said, listen, I don't know why I'm doing any of this. I suggest you autopsy, that you check my brain after, because I don't know why I did any of this. And when they did the autopsy after and examined his brain, he had this big brain tumor putting pressure on a part of his brain that would actually explain it. I forget what part it was, but maybe it was aggression but it's all of his behavior was perfectly explained by that brain tumor. And Sam Harris's point is that all evil other people do is the exact same thing. There's something wrong here and he said it's not as easy as the brain tumor. It's when we do evil. And to me, it's funny because it's I think of Sam Harris as describing that phenomenon in an excellent, grounded way. But to me, it kind of matches with Christianity, that judge not lest ye be judged. There for the grace of God go I. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like it, but Sam's argument of why we don't have free will makes me feel better about that shit. Sometimes it makes it easier to forgive myself. Fucking, I didn't choose the body I was born into. I didn't choose the brain I got. But anyway, I won't go off on that any deeper because most people do not like that shit from Sam at all. What is my favorite color? Okay, I have a controversial answer to that because my favorite color is black. Some people will say, that's not a color. But what color is a black car then? What color is it a zebra? Is it no color and no color? So I don't define what, and while I understand white light is all the colors, black light is none of the colors, still the visual field, which is made up of colors, white and black, are visually colors. So my favorite color to have walls is, yeah, it's my favorite color is black. I get the argument why that's not a color, but if black and white aren't colors, then what? A zebra's red? You have to peel off the black and white? What about you? What's your favorite color? And how many people find that fucking annoying? Say nope, that's not a color. You need to pick again. Because if your question is, what's my favorite color other than black and white? I'm not quite sure. Interbeing Alchemist. I'll also emphasize with anger as being chaotic and completely without control. It's a Pandora's box that I can't open because it's so raw and limitless. I have no control over it. It has been compounded by the injustice I experienced as a child. In all fairness, Merc, despite how you feel, I find you inspirational. motivating because you're living with your burdens and that means something. Okay, thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, and for me, it's like the dark shit I have inside of me is just ridiculous. When I get the bipolar rage, or if I'm suicidally depressed and I give into the dark side to be like blame others and it starts getting into me, like I used to be such a fucking problem for family and friends, where especially because waking up is the hardest often when you're suicidal or when you're, having all these extreme states. I would wake up and just be overwhelmed, and it's like I want to kill myself, and I'd lose control and wake up and just be wanting to punch walls or punch myself in the head. And then it turns to blaming someone. And so the next thing, fucking, I'm on the telephone and some poor fucking family member or friend of mine answers and just gets me screaming. Like how the fuck could you do this? Or how the fuck could they do this? Or someone needs to fucking help me. It's like, I don't take care of my anger when it's small. It's just brutal. And this year, like with that fucking hell I've been through, I have handled it fairly well. Been a couple times where it's pretty hard for my parents to talk to me, where some of it was coming out a little, but very, very little. And also, I guess it's fucking self-harm. I did fucking punch myself in the head a few times in an out of control way, but compared to in the past, I'm surprised I did as little as I did. And yeah, and it's not like my parents had to deal with me every morning waking up calling screaming. It's like a few times as they were helping me work through shit, I got a bit out of, I was difficult to be around, but better than I have been in the past in these states. In fact, considering what I went through this year, surprised I handled it as well as I did. It's indescribable to somebody who hasn't been through it. Oh, hey, look, Tarot for Self-Knowledge is here. Good to see you, man. Hi, Merc. We're so blessed to live in Canada. Such a beautiful country here. Yes, it is. And that's nice to have you back in Canada. How long have you been back now? Is it a couple weeks? Or okay, Pat's got a prediction. Someone earlier asked about 2021. Pat says 2021 will be the collective ego death. Ego death's a tricky thing to get through. Is a collective ego death good or bad? Griswold Grimm. Hey, welcome, Grizz. I hope you're having a good night. Says SMO leggings sales will skyrocket as part of a New Year's cult ritual. That's quite a prediction. I find that that seems extremely unlikely. So if it came true, that would be very impressive. And Lightheart says, hi, Greg from Cyber. Okay, Pat, if you know that you're driving and shouldn't be typing, drive and do not type. What's the matter, you? You need a PSA about not, especially this isn't worth fucking endangering yourself or other people on the road. Focus on your driving. Yeah, see, Grizz agrees with me. Love yourself enough not to text and drive. Because, I was about to say, because we love you, and Lightheart already had it. We love you, bro. Oh, okay, no, this I think's directed at. Wait, who's that directed at? You said hi to Greg? But then Pat was risking his life driving. But then I'm the one on the screen. So when you say we love you, bro, and our prayers are with you, are we praying for Greg? Are we praying for Pat because he's driving dangerously? Or are we praying for me? Actually, I'm happy to just pray for everyone. And I'm happy to just love everyone. Dust says, yeah, I agree with Sam Harris a bit. Romans 9. It is not of him who will, nor of him who runs, but of God who shows compassion. Yes, oddly, sometimes I find as atheist as Sam Harris is, his shit fits in so much with, we do not do this by our will. All things are done through the will of God. Kodamaji? I assume I'm saying that wrong. I apologize. Midnight, color of a midnight sky. Midnight is beautiful. Especially a midnight sky, yeah, with no clouds. Sally says, can't stay long, but hi and thinking about y'all. Hi, Sally. Thanks for stopping in. Hope you're having a great night. Thanks again so much for the pendant you sent me and the sand and ocean water. Sally is not only a wonderful artist, she's a wonderful, caring, generous person. We should all love Sally very much and be grateful she's part of our community. Tarot for Self-Knowledge has been back almost 2 weeks now. And wait, are you still going to be, do I direct people to your channel? I should definitely direct everyone to Sally's channel. So if you don't know, Sally Jo M. Cooper is the one who designed our Sorting Myself Out logo. And she's been active and amazing part of the community. And she has her own fucking YouTube channel, which I have not kept up with enough recently. But I love the herb videos, and I loved when you were showing around your family ranch. So Sally's got some great stuff, and I know she's still putting shit out. So if you want to help support Friends of Sorting Myself Out, check out Sally Jo M. Cooper's channel and subscribe and like and share and all that good stuff that helps people. I would say the same thing about Tarot for Self-Knowledge, that anyone who's interested in tarot should go, like, subscribe and share and all that shit. But I don't know if you want to take a break from doing the tarot reading or not, if you're still redirecting. So what do you say, Tarot for Self-Knowledge? Should people go subscribe to your channel or not? Okay, Sally says 2021, we all become Ron Swanson. Dust says, I would enjoy becoming Ron Swanson. Oh, I don't want to be anyone else. I would enjoy knowing Ron Swanson. Although, I'm probably being stupid here and taking it too literally. I assume you mean we all take on certain characteristics of Ron Swanson. Not that suddenly everyone's a fucking Ron Swanson walking around. So which elements of Ron Swanson do you think we all take on in 2021 to discuss it more maturely? Brog says, I'd been doing Wim Hof on and off before he went on the podcast with Peterson. Also, Jordan still seems to still be in really rough shape. I hope that he'll find some relief and healing. Yeah, absolutely. That was one thing in that interview that I don't know how much shit he's done. If I've seen everything he's done since he's been back, but like he did that one with Michaela, which he did talk about, how rough it was. And then he did one with Coleman Hughes, and it seemed like he wasn't doing too bad there. But when he did the Wim Hof one and talked about how it was a lot of effort for him to hold himself still, and that like he moves all day uncontrollably, and I guess the fact that he's been controlling it completely when he was on camera the few times, I didn't realize how much he was sort of covering. So it seems like he's in really rough. And when he described what he went through, like way back in the one with Michaela, like, fuck, that guy has been through some brutal shit. Yeah, I just wish him the best. It's amazing that he's going through that shit and he's still bothering to write a book and do anything at all. So he says time lapses recently, paintings. Wim Hof is super interesting. And you're just using Ron Swanson as a meme flag. Yeah. See, I'm not good with meme culture and interacting with memes, and I'm just not hip to that mode of communication or some of the actual verbal communication surrounding that. Okay, were you here earlier, Sally, when me and fuck, who was it who also said Wim Hof did it to them? I found doing Wim Hof breathing for the first time recently when I worked in the Wim Hof breathing. There were a couple days where I found it just made me furious. Like when I went to start doing Wim Hof, I was in a depressed state. It was difficult to, even try to do some self care. And then I did the Wim Hof breathing, and it would just flare up this fucking anger in me and this desire to start, like blaming people. And I get like there's difficult shit going on in my life that I'm trying to cope with. For some reason, recently when I tried the Wim Hof breathing, and part of it is I had recently, something had happened to me from someone. I had a reasonable reason to be upset with someone that, other people agreed with me is a reason to be angry, but I don't like to be angry. But anyway, it just brought up the bipolar rage for me when I did the Wim Hof a couple times recently. So I backed the fuck off of that. I don't want to deal with any more bipolar rage. I'm so exhausted from all these extreme emotions. So have you ever experimented with the Wim Hof breathing shit, Sally? And if so, did it ever cause anger? Now, let's go back to the elements of Ron Swanson that Sally is predicting we're going to take on. Build a chair, love breakfast foods, have a bug out bag to escape your ex-wife, love your friends, do what you want, disregarding the government when you want to, and don't apologize to the bureaucrats. Those are the things. A lot of those things are great and completely harmless, but do what you want, disregarding the government when you want to. That's good when the government's wrong. But man, if what you think is right is lynching black people, I really wouldn't run out doing what you want, disregarding the law. And when it comes to don't apologize to the bureaucrats, to me, that's too blanket. I know I'm nitpicking here and it's not the way you fucking meant it. It just gives me something to say. But I will also point out, and don't apologize to the bureaucrats. I'd say don't apologize to the bureaucrats unless you think you're wrong. But if you did something wrong to one of the bureaucrats and you know it was wrong, then I would apologize. Akathesia is hell. I've been there temporarily. Yeah, what Peterson was dealing with. Yeah, it's too bad that guy's been struggling with so much. All right, and I am now actually caught up. We're over an hour, but if anyone else has something they want to say, I am caught up. I can respond to a couple more things, or we can wrap this up. But in response to me asking Sally about it, she replied, tried Wim Hof lightly, found it interesting, want to do it before cold swimming, but have not got to. Okay, so I think I got caught up. I think I actually responded to everything in the chat. I see it's almost 111. Oh, it changed to 10 people. But for a moment there, it was like 11 people, 11 likes. I saw a row of 11s and it's almost 111. Do we wrap up now, or does anyone else have any final fucking shit they want to talk about? Yeah, Sally says I'll have to review in the morning. Good night. Good night, Sally. Yeah, you said you weren't here long anyway. And Dust was about to head out myself too. All right, so we will probably wrap it up here. So unless you act like if you have something, if you're watching, you have something else to say, and you're waiting for the right time, I'll wait for a minute. If not, everyone can just sort of say goodnight and head out. So Kata Maggie, or I'm sorry, I don't like mispronouncing people's names. I just don't know how to pronounce that. But it says 4 a.m. here in Brazil. Good night. Well, good night, and thanks for coming. I have never been to Brazil. It's cool to know that someone that was here tonight was in Brazil. So I hope you sleep well, and I hope I didn't fuck up your night's sleep. That's pretty late, 4 a.m. Good night, Dust. God bless. And so, yeah, for everyone who's leaving now, God bless. Genuinely, thank you for coming, especially everyone who's so active, and lunatic love to all. And for anyone who's going to hang around a bit longer, let's see. Because program says, I wonder if some of my irritability and angria is from hypomania, since I know it's a symptom. I'm perplexed that I'm able to easily adjust the anger's intensity, though. So, yes, anger and irritability can be a symptom of hypomania. If you've done enough fucking meditations and self work and shit, you can you can learn to easily adjust anger. Like Sam Harris is like self-reported ability to adjust his anger. Um, he says he can do it basically instantaneously when he realizes he's getting angry. Anger is something that, and with the exception of a couple days where I was really in hell, there were a couple days where it was basically like having Satan loose inside of me. I don't know, a month ago or whatever. Like outside of that and outside of extreme situations, I've gotten very good at handling anger myself. But even when it comes to the bipolar rage, even though sometimes it takes me a while, I'm better and better and better at it. It used to just completely control me. Yeah, that's anger really is something you can learn to adjust. Dust to Dust says, take care of yourself. Okay, Prog saying, is that at all typical of manic anger? From my experience and from my understanding, no, that's not typical of manic anger. Like, manic anger is harder to control than average anger. So if you find that easy to adjust, and did you always find that easy to adjust, or did you have to learn how to do it? Hey, the runaway. Okay, I don't know if you just showed up or if you've been here for a while and that's just your first comment. But Runaway Rascal says, aloha, y'all, much love. Yeah, much love to you. Thanks for being here tonight. I was kind of wrapping this up, I think, but then was also willing to answer a couple more questions if anyone had any. And Grizz says, what is the secret to successful karaoke? I don't know. I have never successfully run a karaoke bar, or, yeah, I'm not a big karaoke person. So I have no idea. Can anyone else help Grizz with that? All right. It seems like things have calmed down. Are we all done for the night? I'll wait a minute just in case someone's partway through typing something. But I really don't have anything to say to fill the gaps, so I'm just going to sit quietly for a moment. So you're not writing anything, but there's still a bunch of you here. So what the fuck does that mean? Why didn't you all just go to bed if no one has, is it just no one has anything to say, but they want to see if anyone else has something to say? Well, no, the number went up by one. It was the opposite of the point. All right, Progs took the time to type out something. I'm using mindfulness to generate the anger when I want and quell it when I want. The anger isn't because of hypomania right now, which is good, I suppose. Thanks for the insight. Okay, so that answers why the fuck you can control your anger so easily, is because you're doing fucking meditation work. That's a great idea for anyone who has an anger problem in general, especially like if you have bipolar rage, that's so fucking hard to deal with. Take a time when you're already calm, enter a mindful meditative state, generate a small amount of anger, and quell it. Like practice with something smaller, like lifting weights. If you're getting attacked by something that's too heavy to deal with every now and then start by lifting smaller things. So, yeah, obviously, that meditative program's working well because no, manic anger is not easier to deal with. So fucking good on you for doing that. Actually, wait, and now that you say that, yeah, I've done similar practices in the past, just not recently. Yeah, see, this is that depression stupidity. I've done that as well, like years ago. So that's great advice for everyone. If you want to learn how to control anger, what does help is when you're in a calm state, intentionally generate some anger, like meditate, get in a nice mindful state, then generate anger over something and let it go. Okay, Grizz says you karaoke'd on D Live and it was exceptional. I fucking thought that was horrible. Like, not you guys, you and Pat, well, except when everything was out of sync. That was horrible. But I thought I did horrible when I karaoke'd on D Live. In fact, yeah, when you asked to do it, my internal response that I didn't say out loud was, I don't want to do fucking karaoke. This will be embarrassing. But you were excited to do it. Pat was there. And so even though I felt like I wasn't going to do a good job of it and I was just going to look like an idiot, I wanted to participate for the sake of everyone else and thought me doing a bad job is me participating and it allows it to happen. Me being like, oh, I don't want to do it. I think I'm going to do a shitty job is like raining on the parade. So I only did it to try to like play along so you guys could do it. Okay, so when you say what's the secret to successful karaoke and you're claiming my karaoke was exceptional, then I guess the secret is think that you're not going to do it well. Do it for the sake of your friends so that you don't ruin the energy for the group and then feel embarrassed about it after. I guess, because that's the process I went through. Lightheart says that's at you. Wait, yeah. What was it I asked? Who's directed at? Higher up? So, okay, the we love you, bro, and our prayers are with you. Okay, thank you very much, Lightheart. I fully believe in fucking prayers. And so when I say like I appreciate people's prayers, I really, really, really fucking appreciate everyone's prayers. I Yeah, there were a lot of moments this year I barely fucking made it through. And so I could not have handled it being any worse. So anyone who did send good energy or prayers, thank you. Because I couldn't have done this year if it had been any harder. And all of you have been in my prayers. I mean, some of you specifically know from private messages. I said you've been in my prayers, but there are times where I think about, someone messages me that they've been praying for me. Anytime someone tells me that, it reminds me there are probably also people who watch my shit and pray for me, but they've never commented. They've never. In fact, sometimes the first time I talk to someone, they'll say something like that. I've been watching for months or whatever. I've prayed for you. So I'm aware there's people who pray for me that I don't even know they're praying for me. And there's been times where I could kind of feel that, and I really, really appreciate it. And sometimes I just kind of go through, I'm praying for certain people in the community that I know are struggling. Other times I just pray for everyone in the community. So you've all been in my prayers. I know a lot of us have struggled this year. So on the final full moon of 2020, I'll offer up the prayer that 2021 is better for all of us. And that we all learn whatever lessons were built into our difficulties. That those of us who've had a difficult year and those of us who've suffered, that our suffering isn't in vain, and that it all works towards the greater good and somehow that I can't comprehend. That seems like a decent way to end out the year of full moons. So God bless you all. Thanks for showing up. Lunatic love to all.